Beg your pardon. Hello badminton fans and welcome to this Yonex Astrox group test. We've got the Yonex Astrox 88D Pro, S Pro, and we've got the 88S Game. Now the D and the S Pros, we have tested both the 3 and 4U variations. Availability worldwide is very good. They're available almost everywhere. The prices of the S and D Pro is about £140, £150, that is. I'm not sure how much it will be in your part of the world. And the 88S Game is about £70, £80. Design wise, they all look pretty much the same. Different color for the D, the S and the S Game, the S Pro and the S Game, sorry, they look pretty much the same. The D and the S Pros are manufactured in Japan and the S Game is manufactured in Taiwan. Here's some pictures of the designs. Take a look and see what you think for yourself. So you've had a look at the designs there. I mean, look, it's finished beautifully. Yonex always finish their rackets amazingly. They do not have a very amazing design team. Pretty boring design in my opinion. Nice colours, well finished, but nothing interesting to look at in terms of design, but executed really, really well. So the specs, we know that Yonex Astrox rackets are head heavy. Their maximum string tension on these rackets is between 28 to 30 pounds depending on the 3 or 4U version that you go for. And these rackets are all generally have quite a stiff shaft. Yeah, and they're G5 gripped. Most of them are G5 gripped, okay? Here are the E-Zone specs, our own independent tests of all those aspects of the racket. Let's bring them up on the screen now. I'm not going to go through them because there's too many to go through here. You can compare them for yourself and see that information. It's easy to see on the screen basically. Now if you want to see more of that, you can go to the E-Zone, it's free, and there's a link below in the comments box to go directly to the E-Zone, and you can see all of these, compare them directly on the E-Zone. You can see more information also than we've just shown you there. Right, so the bottom line here is how do they perform, how do they compare? Well, the D and the S, the D feels heavier, it feels head heavier, it feels like the racket that's going to have the more aggression, and it actually is. The 88D, you know, it has the better smash on a regular basis. I'm talking about, let's say you've got someone feeding you shuttles, you had to hit 20 smashes. The D is going to be the one I would put my money on that's going to deliver the bigger smashes on a more regular occasion. The D also impressed us with its defensive capabilities. We weren't expecting that from a Yonex top range professional grade racket. It's so good on the defensive. Despite it feeling heavy and head heavy, they have made that frame move in the air efficiently enough for you not to feel you're neglecting your defensive capabilities. And what also was really nice is the overhead clears were really easy and really simple. So we know that now about the Astrox 88D Pro. It's actually a very capable racket, but how does it compare to the S? Well, the 88D, we found ourselves, and we have people who have played around us, and we've seen them start with the racket and progress. The control does take a lot of adjustment. You know, you're kind of not sure if you should take the shot a little bit earlier and slice, take it a bit further away, you know, low or high. It just takes that time, and you're finding you're over doing those tight shots, or you're underdoing them, you're hitting the net. It's just hard to get the timing right on the control with the D. Now with the S, it can smash. It's not a bad smashing racket, but it feels lighter, it feels less head heavy. The S Pro we're talking about now. And in that, because of that little bit of lightness, that little bit more swiftness in the air, you do feel like you have a better level of control, and they feel distinctly different. They feel distinctly different. Only one thing they have in comparison is the fact that they are both very capable at defense. But if I was to say which racket is going to defend better, I would go with the 88S Pro as opposed to the D, although it is very capable. Now, the 88S game in that respect does offer a good smash and does have reasonably good defense. That is really about it. There is a notable difference between the S Pro and the 88S game, but it depends on what level of game you're playing at as to whether you will notice that or not. We didn't find the overhead shots as easy with the S game. We didn't find the drive capability. Even though the racket feels fairly light, it wasn't amazingly alive when we were playing with it. So, let me summarise the 3U. We don't need the 3U. We didn't see the benefit. We've never seen the benefit for about a year and a half now of the 3U versions of these big professional rackets. Nice Black Panther 3U, amazing racket. Recommend it every single day of the week. It's a 90-gram racket. It's not light, but it doesn't play like that. And you see the benefit of that extra weight in the smash capability of that 3U racket. We didn't really feel like we got a massive benefit of the extra weight from the 3U versions of these rackets. So we know traditionally singles players should be recommended to get a 3U racket or a heavier racket. Why? You know, there's got to be a reason. We can't just blindly follow stuff. We don't know why that is. I know what the traditional technicality theory is behind it, but with these rackets, they don't offer the advantage. I would not recommend them. I would scrap the 3U. In actual fact, that trend has been shown worldwide on the sales of these rackets. The 3U is a small portion of sales compared to the 4U. That you may argue because there's more doubles players, mixed players. Maybe that is the case, but nevertheless, the 3U just doesn't offer the advantage. So let's scrap the 3U version of all these rackets. We're down to the 4Us, and that's all I'm going to be talking about from this point onwards. The 88D Pro 4U. Great overhead ability, decent smash, decent defense, difficult on the control. Overall, it's actually a really good racket. And for the first time, Badminton Racket Review can say thumbs up and yay! You can quite happily buy an 88D Pro because we think it's actually a really, really good racket. I'm so pleased we can say that because the amount of hate we get when we criticize Yonex top models is unbelievable, but we actually think this is a good racket. But remember one thing about the 88D Pro. Do not buy it if you do not like head heavy bearing rackets. It feels it. Do not buy it if you don't like stiff rackets, and it does feel slightly heavy. Those three things, if you don't like them, don't buy the 88D Pro. It is not going to work for you. For people who do and can handle that kind of racket, I would definitely say strong intermediate upwards, then singles and doubles, it's a thumbs up. You can go grab that. The 88D Pro, in my opinion, and the team's opinion, is better than the 88S Pro. That is a surprising conclusion given that the S Pro is the faster racket, it does feel lighter in the defense, but it doesn't do anything that much greater than the D. The D is actually a really good achievement because even though the S Pro feels faster, it is the easier racket to use, but not by a significant amount. And that was a real shock to us. So what it doesn't do though, it doesn't deliver on those half, when you haven't got time to do a full motion on your smash and you're just flicking your wrist. The D still delivers a significant blow to the shuttle and pressure on your opponent. The S, not really so. So the 88S Pro is good for players looking for strategy and tactics, placement, control, whereas the D has a better overall game. So the conclusion for the S Pro 4U would be buy it if you don't really rely on your smash power and you want to be able to control the rally a little bit more and direct the rally. the shuttle around the court. That's the kind of player you are. Maybe if you're a front player, you're playing a lot at the front, so you set the rally up so that your partner, who's the big smasher, is at the back and you're at the front trying to intercept Sukamulioing, you know, shuttles that are going past you. No for singles on the 88S Pro 4U. Kind of yes. I'm not like, you know, this is not a racket I would be openly recommending, but it's okay. I'll say okay for doubles. It's nowhere near as good as a J-Nice Black Panther. So they're worlds apart. The S feels nowhere near as fast, a lot stiffer, and harder to access that performance. So if it was a Yonex Astrox racket, from the professional grade rackets, it would be the 88D Pro 4U for me. But I'm telling you, it's not, don't get this wrong, it's not easy to use. You need to be able to control it and have that ability to deal with it. It's not kind of sort of a Bros Venom or a Janus Black Panther, which you can just walk on and pretty much anyone can play with. Now the Astrox 88S game, yes, it's almost half the price. It does have a reasonable smash, it does have reasonable defense, it does struggle with control, it does struggle with overhead shots. At £80, it is really well built and really well executed. So there should be a load of reasons for me to say go buy one, people. Unfortunately, £80 is not low enough to justify a lot of the competition. Kawasaki obviously in that sector and strong. A little bit more money and we're now into Mizuno territory, we're into J-Nice territory. Drop some money and we're into a Bros territory, and we kind of get into a real muddle there, because how do you recommend something like that? You know, Mizuno have got brilliant rackets at a real high, they're generally higher price points. Kawasaki's Honor S9, we've seen it, I don't know if you've seen it on the E-Zone. It is a great racket. It's fast, it's head heavy, it's super powerful. You know, that is a racket that's going to be serious contender. What else have we got? We've got obviously the J-Nice Black Panthers, I've already mentioned those. The JPX Blitz is pretty cool racket, £119 that's going to be retailing for. So there's a lot of competition out there right now, and I'm not mentioning the leanings because the Aeronaut 9000i is a significantly more expensive racket than this 88S game. So to conclude, the 88D Pro 4U, first choice. 88S Pro would be the second, but really it's a borderline decision between that and the 88S game. There's not enough in it. The 88S Pro probably feels like it was going to give you that little bit better control levels. It does feel like the more professional grade racket, but it's almost double the price. So I'm not confident in recommending either of those. But the 88D Pro 4U, definite thumbs up. Remember, it's quite a hardcore racket. It's going to take a certain skill set, a certain level of experience, and so on and so forth. You know the drill. Now, we have to thank you at this point for all of the love we've been getting. We are so late on publishing videos. We are so late on all the testing and the reviewing. Everything is so much went on from Badminton Racket Review in 2021. So much happened. I don't even know when to begin to tell you, but we are trying to get back on track now. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for all the love. The E-Zone is your platform. Thank you for all the people who take the time to leave a review on the sales site, on the E-Zone, all the emails, lovely emails we get. I mean, we are getting to the point where we're getting so much contact now from around the world. We haven't got enough staff to keep up with the replies, so we are slowing down the replies. So I do apologize if we miss one or two. It's just hard work at the moment. The team needs to grow, and we are planning to do that later on this year. Hope you enjoy this video. Stay tuned for the next one. See you soon.